Welcome to Delta Wing Aviation Academy, where we prepare you for takeoff.
Hello, pilots. Welcome to Delta Wing Aviation Academy, where we prepare you for takeoff. In this regulation-focused video from our Private Pilot series, we'll be covering the Private Pilot Airplane Airman Certification Standards, specifically Task A pilot qualifications. Today's focus is PA.I.A.K1 Certification Requirements for private pilots. Throughout this video, the exact FAA regulations will be displayed on the screen, so feel free to pause, read carefully, or take screenshots at any time. We'll break down each requirement step by step using simple explanations, real-world examples, and Checkride ready tips, ensuring nothing is missed. And if you're short on time, be sure to stay until the end for a quick wrap-up summary that brings everything together. If you find this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue delivering clear, accurate, and professional aviation education. All right, pilots, let's begin. Overview of FAR Part 61. The FAA regulations governing the certification of a private pilot are found in FAR Part 61, specifically FAR 61-103. This regulation explains who is eligible for a private pilot certificate, and it also references 3 additional FARs that define the required knowledge, training, and flight experience. Those regulations are FAR 61-105, Aeronautical Knowledge Required for the FAA Written Exam, FAR 61-107, Bravo 1, Required Ground and Flight Training Areas for the Checkride, FAR 61-109, Alpha, Minimum Aeronautical Experience, also known as Flight Time Requirements. Together, these regulations form the foundation of private pilot certification. FAR 61-103, Eligibility Requirements. Let's now take a closer look at FAR 61-103, which covers eligibility. To be eligible for a private pilot certificate, an applicant must meet all of the following requirements. Age requirement. You must be at least 17 years old on the date of your practical test, commonly known as the Checkride. English language proficiency. You must be able to read, speak, write, and understand the English language. This requirement exists because English proficiency is essential for understanding air traffic control instructions, reading aeronautical charts and FAA publications, completing written exams and logbook entries, communicating clearly during normal and emergency operations. If an applicant cannot meet this requirement, the FAA may place a language limitation on the pilot certificate. Pilot certificate requirement. Before applying for a private pilot certificate, you must hold at least one of the following: a student pilot certificate, a sport pilot certificate, or a recreational pilot certificate. Medical requirement. You must hold a valid FAA medical certificate, at least 3rd class, or meet the requirements to operate under Basic Med. We'll cover Basic Med in detail in a separate video. Regulatory compliance. Finally, you must comply with all applicable regulations contained in FAR Part 61. Checkride tip. Examiners often ask, where are the private pilot eligibility requirements found? Correct answer, FAR 61-103 under FAR Part 61. FAR 61-105. Aeronautical Knowledge, FAA Written Exam. Next is FAR 61-105, which outlines the aeronautical knowledge requirements for the FAA Knowledge Test, commonly known as the written exam. Before you can take the knowledge test, you must receive ground training and a logbook endorsement from an authorized instructor. That instructor may be a certified flight instructor, CFI, or an advanced ground instructor, AGI. The endorsement certifies that you are proficient in the required knowledge areas. Required knowledge areas. I'll display these areas on the screen, but I won't read them one by one. Go ahead and pause the video or take a screenshot, because we'll cover how to prepare for and pass the FAA written exam in a separate, dedicated video. Final requirement. After receiving the required endorsement, you must pass the FAA Knowledge Test. Checkride tip. Examiners may ask, what endorsement is required before taking the FAA written exam? Correct answer, a ground training endorsement from an authorized instructor under FAR 61-105. FAR 61-107, Bravo 1, required ground and flight training areas. Now let's move on to FAR 61-107, Bravo 1. This regulation lists the areas of operation in which you must receive both ground and flight training before taking your private pilot practical test, also known as the Checkride. Once again, I'll display these areas on the screen without reading them one by one. Go ahead and pause the video or take a screenshot. We'll cover each area in detail in future videos. Instructor endorsements required. After completing this training, your instructor must provide 2 separate logbook endorsements: an endorsement confirming completion of the required training, a second endorsement stating that you are prepared for the practical test. Checkride tip. If the examiner asks, where are the required training areas listed? Correct answer, FAR 61-107, Bravo 1. FAR 61-109, Alpha, aeronautical experience, flight time requirements. Now let's talk about flight time requirements under FAR 61-109, Alpha. To be eligible for a private pilot certificate, airplane, you must log a minimum of 40 hours of total flight time. Recent training requirement. In addition to total flight time, the FAA requires recent training. You must complete 3 hours of flight training within the preceding 2 calendar months before your practical test or Checkride. Dual flight training requirements. Your dual instruction with an authorized instructor must include the following: cross-country training, 3 hours of dual cross-country flight training. Night flight training, 3 hours of night flight training, which must include 1 dual cross-country flight of more than 100 nautical miles total distance, 10 takeoffs and 10 landings to a full stop, involving traffic pattern operations at an airport. These night operations must be completed between evening civil twilight and morning civil twilight. Simulated instrument training check, mark 3 hours of simulated instrument flight using foggles or a view-limiting device, including basic aircraft control, navigation by reference to instruments, radio communications, unusual attitude recovery, solo flight time requirements. You must also complete a minimum of 10 hours of solo flight time, which includes 5 hours of solo cross-country flight. Required solo cross-country flight. One solo cross-country flight must include 150 nautical miles total distance, full stop landings at 3 different airports, at least 50 nautical miles straight line distance between 2 of the landing points. Example, a solo flight from Gainesville Regional Airport to St. Augustine to Lake City Gateway and back to Gainesville totals 150.5 nautical miles and meets all FAA requirements. Checkride tip. Examiners frequently ask, what is the minimum flight time required for a private pilot certificate? Correct answer, 40 hours total flight time under FAR 61-109 Alpha, including specific dual, solo, night instrument, and recent training requirements. Wrap up and Checkride tip. That wraps up the eligibility and flight training requirements for a private pilot certificate under FAR Part 61. Before you take your Checkride, I recommend taking a screenshot of this checklist and checking off each requirement as you complete your training. It will make Checkride preparation much easier and help you stay organized and confident. If a designated pilot examiner asks, what are the private pilot eligibility requirements? You should confidently answer using FAR 61-103. Summarized like this. Thanks for watching today's video on recent flight experience for private pilots. If this helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating clear, FAA accurate aviation education. Fly safe and I'll see you in the next video.